10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
Is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
Deep to right field at the warning track. See ya.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
At the buzzer.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now. It's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Huge win for Oregon.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Happy Friday, Ducks. Both Diamond Sports in action tonight at James Sanders Stadium and at PK Park. Couple home series against Cal for Oregon baseball and against Oregon State for Oregon softball. That's all coming up. We've got acrobatics and tumbling in the national championship, and we're going to go through the entire NFL draft. At least what matters to Duck fans. And what matters to Duck fans is that defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau, selected by the New York Giants with the number 5 overall pick in the 2022 NFL draft on Thursday night. That gave the Oregon football program a top 10 selection for the third year running. Oregon is one of 3 schools to have a top 10 pick in each of the last 3 NFL drafts, along with Alabama and LSU. Thibodeau is Oregon's first top 5 selection since Marcus Mariota went number 2 overall in 2015, and he joins Dion Jordan, who was number 3 overall in 2013, as the only Oregon defensive players to be taken in the top 5. Overall, Thibodeau is the 7th top 5 pick in program history. The top players ever drafted in Oregon history. Listen to this. In 1955, round 1, pick 1, George Shaw. In 2015, round 1, pick 2, Marcus Mariota. 2013, round 1, pick 3, Dion Jordan. In 2002, round 1, pick number 3, Joey Harrington. 1999, round 1, pick number 3, Achilles Smith. Round 1, number 4 overall, in 1972, Ahmad Rashad. And then in 2022, Kayvon Thibodeau, the 5th overall pick. Justin Herbert, 2 years ago, was the number 6 overall pick. Penei Sewell in 2021, the number 7 overall pick. And DeForest Buckner back in 2016, the number 7 overall pick. The 4th Duck ever to be named a unanimous All-American. Thibodeau is Oregon's 10th all-time top 10 pick and the 20th first-round selection in Oregon football history. He's the Los Angeles native. Thibodeau becomes the 9th Duck to be drafted by Mike Jorgensen's New York Giants. He will join former Oregon offensive lineman Shane Lemieux on New York's roster. Thibodeau said, quote, "I knew it. I manifested it. We had great talks. They FaceTimed me on the plane, and they were excited to talk to me, and I knew it was time. It was just a blessing just to be part of a family and organization like this. It's ridiculous." That's Kayvon Thibodeau on being picked by the New York Giants. Thibodeau enjoyed a dominant 3-year career for the Ducks, tying for 7th in program history with 19 career sacks in 31 games. He made 34.5 career tackles for loss, and he's the first Oregon player to ever lead the team in both sacks and TFLs in 3 straight seasons. He was the A finalist for the Chuck Bednarik Award and the Bronco Nagurski Trophy in 2021. Thibodeau became the first Oregon defensive player to earn unanimous All-America status while also receiving first-team All-Pac-12 honors for the 2nd year in a row. Thibodeau led Oregon with 7 sacks, 12 tackles for loss in his final season, despite missing multiple games due to injuries. He is one of the highest-regarded recruits in program history. Set some records with that recruiting class. He was the Pac-12 Defensive Freshman of the Year. He set a program freshman record with 9 sacks. Dominated the conference title game. The Pac-12 championship game, he had 2.5 sacks and a block punt. He will join a Giants organization that went 4-13 in 2021 and is entering its first season under their new head coach, Brian DeBoll. Kayvon Thibodeau. All-time first-round draft picks. Ducks have had a few of them over the last few years. And how about the fact, just one more time, 3 straight years that the Ducks have had a top 10 pick. That's pretty darn cool. Kayvon Thibodeau, congratulations to him. That's awesome. The rest of the NFL draft, of course, continues today and tomorrow. We'll have updates for you across the Oregon Sports Network during our baseball broadcast. We'll be keeping an eye on things. And I think that we're going to see a few more Oregon Ducks have their names called. And here's hoping that all the current Pro Ducks, that their teams pick the right guys to help Pro Ducks be better at the NFL level, right? I'm talking to you, Chargers. Feel like everybody seemed to be pretty happy, at least from an Oregon perspective, on their first couple picks. So congratulations to Kayvon Thibodeau. That's a tremendous honor. I'll never forget this story. He told me once when we were getting ready to do an interview, we were in a commercial break on the postgame show, and so I'm standing in the locker room downstairs, or well, really upstairs in the Hatfield Dowland complex. It's weird because it's downstairs for Jerry and Georgie in the booth at Autzen, but it's upstairs in the locker room where Oregon's locker room is in the HDC. Anyway, it was, I think, the first time that KT had gone to do post-game media. So what that means is you've got the locker room, and then there's this hallway that leads into the press conference room. And I think it was the first time that KT had done that. And I was talking to him about how he wants to be a broadcaster, right? He had come in. He really took to the School of Journalism and Communication. Shameless plug, of course, I'm a graduate of the SOJC at the U of O. And I said to KT, I go, so what do you want to do? Like, when you're done playing, he goes, look, I want to be football's Shaq. Like, I want to be that level of, like, kind of a crossover personality, you know, but have that sort of gravitas. Like, I want that personality, that type of mantra, I guess, for Kayvon Thibodeau. And I said, God, look at, I mean, he could do it. I mean, by the time he's done playing, he totally could be football's Shaq. And what I thought was really cool, you think about the similarities and personalities and how they're both more than just football players. Who called him, of course, afterwards, but Michael Strahan, right? I mean, that seems like a good guy to model yourself after if you're Kayvon Thibodeau, and it's going to be fun seeing him in New York. It's almost like there's a draw for Ducks to New York. I mean, Sabrina Ionescu's out there, and boy, that'd be pretty cool. Now with Nyara Sabally as well, as Scott just said, joining the Liberty. Wouldn't it be pretty cool if we saw like Kayvon Thibodeau and Nyara Sabally and Sabrina Ionescu just taking over the Big Apple with that Oregon green apple? That's pretty cool. David Peterson also pitching for the New York Mets. I mean, there's some big players in the Oregon world that are all out there right now, which is pretty cool. Yeah, David Peterson as well. That was a cool connection. So congratulations again to Kayvon Thibodeau. Meanwhile, the weekend schedule, Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling last night against Quinnipiac. They fell in the 4 versus 5 matchup. We've got some news on that for you coming up as their season comes to a close in the quarterfinals of the national championships. Oregon Track and Field's in action this weekend. Mentioned the Diamond Sports, and then individual action for Acrobatics and Tumbling at Matthew Knight Arena at 11 a.m. on Saturday. So we've got some more things to tell you about. For Oregon baseball, before we hear from Mark Wasikowski, some of his thoughts on the series against Cal, I want to point out that the Ducks are sitting at number 17 in the latest RPI. This is a critical series against a Cal team that's 20-20, but they've got some bats. 2 of the best hitters in the Pac-12, they're California Golden Bears. And then they've got a pitcher named Jason White who has been excellent. But there's kind of a caveat there, as you'll hear Mark Wasikowski talk about on the Toyota Coaches Corner as part of our 545 pregame show tonight. But the Ducks sitting at number 17 in the latest RPI. Gonzaga, a team that Oregon beat earlier this year, is right behind them at number 18. Where the Ducks fall, remember the top 16 seeds host regionals in college baseball. Where does this put the Ducks? I think this is a big weekend. After they dropped the tough series to Washington State, lost that good midweek baseball game to Oregon State, which, I mean, truly, a robbed home run. The right fielder for the Beavs robs Jack Scanlon of a 2-run home run. The inning before that, he had hit a 2-run home run himself, Boyd. That's the game. right there. I mean, that's two really good baseball teams playing each other. That's what makes this so fun, I think. The Pac-12 leads to a lot of those matchups. Well, that's what's coming up with a 6 o'clock first pitch, a 2 o'clock first pitch, and a noon first pitch Friday, Saturday, Sunday for Oregon baseball. We've got the Oregon live stream for you thanks to the Quack Video crew as well. Quick timeout. When we come back, talking baseball with Mark Wasikowski, Christian Schiffertelli, Gavin Grant, and Colby Shade. Stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
These are the sounds of a dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio this afternoon, it's Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. My thanks again to everybody for talking with us this week, all the Oregon student athletes. We've got a lot on the horizon for you. I should have mentioned earlier, we're also going to hear from Melyssa Lombardi and Hannah Gailey, head coach and senior for the Ducks on senior weekend over at James Sanders Stadium, and a few more pro-Duck interviews that we have for you, and a lot more to come. So I'm just going to get out of the way and let you listen to the people that matter. Mark Wasikowski, the Oregon baseball head coach, talking about a little bit of a tough game against Oregon State, a good baseball game that the Ducks came out on the wrong side of. But they had a great performance from Christian Schiffertelli, went 3 innings. I think the Ducks expecting more good things from Christian Schiffertelli. But a good baseball game that didn't go their way, and now getting ready for a Cal team that, by the way, that was the final regular season series of the year against Cal. The Ducks clobbered them on Friday, got clobbered on Saturday, won a tight game 6-5 on Sunday to win the series in Berkeley last year. Really good baseball series. Entertaining, to say the least, for me broadcasting it. That was one of the first road trips that I had made, actually, last year with Oregon baseball. I went down there and did that series, and I'll tell you what, Martorella, Beavers, good hitters. And in fact, Beavers came up with a chance to maybe win the game for Cal, and Andrew Mosiello got him to ground out to the first baseman. That's how that series ended, with a 6-5 win for the Ducks last year. So it was strength on strength. 2 good teams last year. So this is a good series coming up this weekend. Mark Wasikowski looking back a little bit on the Oregon State game and ahead to the Cal series this weekend.
Tough week for you guys. Just, how was the team rebounded? I think yesterday was an off day, but how
invest more in just our work and the quality of work, and not going to change anything in terms of what we do on a normal basis. I don't think anything's broken. We just need to focus on the work and finishing games out.
So what have you seen from Cal this year, and how do you look to attack them?
Cal's got really good pieces. They got Dylan Beavers. He's a first-round pick, high first-round pick as their center fielder. He's been playing a couple of different spots in their outfield here lately, but he's a first-round pick. They've got 4 guys in their order that are really good. The Martorella kid is going as good as anybody in the Pac-12 right now. He's crushing balls. And so offensively, they've got some real weapons. Pitching-wise with White and the rest of them, there's some really big arms. I think they shuffled the deck a little bit on their pitching rotation. But the bottom line is they have several guys with really, really good arms on that pitching staff. And I'm sure we'll see them all. They've been pitching them multiple times on a weekend.
With Beavers, and I know you don't want to give too much away, but have you seen anybody be particularly effective trying to limit what he can do?
Yes and no, but he's just a really good hitter, right? I mean, he's a really good hitter, swinging an aluminum bat right now, and so people have had their work cut out for him, trying to get him out, and I don't think that's going to be any different this week. And I mean, the kid's just really good, and so, but he's not the only guy in that order that is really good. They've got a couple other hitters that are going probably as good as he is, that we'll be aware of as well.
The Beavers, how does he compare to some of the previous teams and their best players of the season? Like, where does he rank for you guys in paying attention to him in the order?
Where does he, I don't understand the question. Where does he rank for him?
Yeah, like how much time do you guys put in, like trying to figure out how to go against him, how to take away his strengths?
Amount of time putting into video is a ridiculous amount of time, but it's not really, oh wow, we got Dylan Beavers this week, so we need to invest more time. No, they only give us 24 hours, and so, that's what they give us. And so it doesn't matter who the opponent is that's, it doesn't change anything.
You've seen, maybe wrong by perception, it seems like the last few weeks, maybe there's more third strikes being taken or not. I mean, that might be false. I don't know. God, keep all those stats, but seems like that changed at all, do you think?
No, not so much, not to my knowledge.
You guys have played one game against Oregon State, still 4 to go. Obviously, really good team. What do you see from them? What do you guys need to do to potentially take the season serious?
Score more than they do. Real even series or really even opening game against them, and so they got 2 more than us, and they had a dude jump over the fence and rob a 2-run homer. So, who knows? We could be still playing if the guy didn't catch that ball.
Drew Cowley has come back and looked pretty similar to how he left the team. Just what have you seen from him? And even when he's not on the hitting night, he can still get on base.
Yeah, he's hopefully as his strength continues to come back in his hand, then we'll see more and more power out of Drew, which we saw before the injury. That's a big deal because scoring runs is hard when you don't get a bunch of free bases from an opponent. Oregon State doesn't walk a whole lot of guys. And so when they don't walk a whole lot of guys, that means you got to earn it when you're swinging a bat. And so you usually need to have more doubles, triples, and homers to score more runs, multiple runs and stuff like that. So hopefully as Drew gets going and his strength gets back in his hand, we'll start seeing more and more power out of Drew, which would be great. He obviously hasn't missed a beat with his strike zone awareness and getting on base.
Is there anything he was able to do while he was down? I know that's a nasty injury, to kind of keep as much strength as possible?
No, I mean, when it comes to the injury he had, there's nothing really you can do.
So,
yeah. The past 2 seasons, you guys have broken some single-season home run records here. Is that just, how much pride do you take in that personally? Is that what you're recruiting for? Is that going to be somewhat of a standard? Maybe not breaking it every year, but being a power threat.
Well, I mean, we're excited about any records that we can break. We wanted to bring a more exciting brand of baseball to PK Park, and I think we're doing that. Guys are more physical, they're hitting the ball better. I know people like that a whole heck of a lot more than standing around and not seeing that. They like seeing wins. This team's been able to win a lot of games so far. They like seeing that. We'd like to continue that. Records, any record we can beat, it would be awesome. I'd sign up for that in a heartbeat. I want to break as many records as we can every year.
They're already breaking records left and right. They've got 57 home runs as a team. And, the long ball, though, has gone a little bit quiet for the Ducks over the last few weeks. Would like to see him, I think, put a few over the fence here this weekend against Cal. Talking about pitching, though, I want to highlight Christian Schiffertelli here. He was really good. Got the start against Oregon State, and he actually had pitched against Oregon State and Corvallis in 2019 and was excellent in that outing. Maybe the best outing of that season for Schiff in 2019. And I talked with Mark Wasikowski just a little while ago. You hear it on the Toyota Coaches Corner. That was the interview with the media. My chat with Waz, I asked about Schiff. He said, well, he's got the control. He knows where it's going. He's got the stuff. Christian Schiffertelli was really good against the Beavs. His 2 appearances against the Beavs, he's been excellent. Went 3 innings, had an unearned run on his ledger. pretty good. He talked with the media this week.
Schiff, just what was it like in that start against Oregon State, and how do you think you did?
It was cool. It was awesome being able to get the opportunity. We didn't come out with the win. I think that's the most important part. I felt good up there, but really wish you could have got that one.
You pitched really well against them in your other career outing. I mean, is it safe to say you kind of rise to the occasion in those rivalry matchups?
I mean, I guess so. It's no secret we don't like those guys and they don't like us. So maybe there's a little something more extra that happens when you get out there, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing it. So.
What in particular about that rivalry? I mean, obviously it's Oregon State, but is there anything that, I don't know, they've done in the past few seasons or vice versa that has kind of added fuel to that fire?
Maybe not anything specific. Just kind of the rivalry in general. Ever since I've been here, it's always been, we want to beat those guys. I think my freshman year was the first time we won a game against them since and that was in 2019. I think that was the first time we won a game against them since 2013. Right. And then last year we took 5 out of 6 against them. So, hopefully next week and then the weekend after we can really get after those guys.
How much of a confidence booster was that in that series last year when they had, a really good squad?
It was good. I mean, we had a really good team last year. We have a really good team this year. Same with them. Good program. Taking 5 out of 6 against them last year was huge. But, that's in the past, so now we got to do it again this year.
What's the key for you personally? I mean, in any outing, what's the key for you?
Getting myself to my most competitive level. Sometimes that can be, being a little mad or having a little edge to me. I think that's probably what gets me at my best, stay in character.
How do you go about doing
that? You find certain things, you make things up. I mean, it's a little easier when it's against Oregon State. Yeah.
I think Meckler said something similar to you. We don't like them, they don't like us. Had you seen that? Does that help?
I mean, it's the obvious. I'm glad he said that. I'm glad we're on the same page with them.
We talked to Logan a long time ago, and he mentioned also he loves to pitch mad, getting that way. Yeah. Is that just a reliever thing, or is that something that is just a common shared trait with you guys in the bullpen?
It could be. I think it's just getting to your most competitive level, and a lot of times that can mean just playing angry, but under control at the same time. So I think once you find that happy medium between under control and in character, but also a little pissed off, I think it helps.
How did you find that happy medium for a start rather than coming out of a bullpen? Was it harder, easier, or does it just kind of feel the same?
I treated it just like a relief appearance. I threw at the same time. I didn't sit in the locker room during BP. I just treated it the same exact way as I've been treating it all year. So I just stayed consistent, wasn't going to change anything.
What pitch is you have the most confidence in, and what do you need to work on a little more?
For me, it's mostly been fastball, cutter. I've had pretty good command with both as of late, so I feel pretty comfortable throwing both right now.
You've had a couple ticks up in your velocity this season at points. Just how has that helped your game, and how did you improve that in the off season?
Getting stronger, putting on some weight, but also being able to throw an off speed for a strike was the biggest thing, because once you can do that, it makes your fastball a lot harder to hit, whether it's 95 or 85. So I think the biggest thing is being able to land that off speed.
What's been your favorite moment so far here at Oregon?
Ooh. Probably making a regional last year. That was pretty awesome. Haven't done that in a while. Didn't do that since I've been here, so being able to experience a regional at PK Park was pretty special.
Pitching angry, Christian Schiffertelli. I love that, just getting to his competitive state. He talked about how he rises to the occasion maybe for Oregon State, and then when I asked him that, I thought, yeah, he rises up to the moment, and now he's saying, well, I just got to get to my most competitive level. It sounds easy to do. Sounds really easy. It's hard to do that, the mental game of baseball. When we come back and hear from Gavin Grant and Colby Shade, and I got to tell you a story about Colby Shade. That dude's fast. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece, and it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Neil Armstrong waited 6 hours and 39 minutes to step onto the surface of the moon. Jackie Robinson waited 20 months to play his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And even DiCaprio had to wait 22 years to win an Oscar. You can wait until your destination. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Oregon baseball against Cal tonight, 6 o'clock first pitch between the Ducks and the Golden Bears. So talking about Colby Shade, I got a little bit of a story for you later on, but first I want to tell you about Gavin Grant. Maybe he's the best number 9 hitter in the country. He's Oregon's leading hitter in conference games. He's one of a handful of guys that have 5 home runs, 6 stolen bases or more, and is hitting over 300. And he hits 9th in the Oregon batting order. He really turns the lineup over with some authority, and I think he might actually turn the quickest double play in the Pac-12. Haven't seen every second baseman this year yet, full disclosure, but I think he might turn it better than anybody. The Ducks are 6th nationally in double plays turned coming into the game tonight, and they're 5th nationally in double plays turned per game. Gavin Grant's a big key and big reason for that. Also a very heady baseball player, Gavin Grant with the media this week.
How this week, just what have you seen from them on tape, and how do you try to apply that to your game?
They're a good team. I mean, they're scrappy. They have really talented players. So we have a game plan going in this weekend, and we have our scouting report. So I think we're pretty well prepared.
It was a tough week last week, you guys losing 3 straight, still on the loser streak. Just what's the vibes, I guess, like in the locker room and the dugout?
You know, it sucks. You're not going to sugarcoat it. Losing 3 to anyone's not fun, and one of them being an in-state rival makes it even worse. But you just got to stay up, keep positive, and get back to what we do best.
You feel like the confidence is a pretty good place with this program. You guys have had some bumps in the road this year, and it seems like you bounce back every time. Does it seem like there's that mentality there? Yeah, I mean, that's baseball. You're always going to have bumps in the road, whether it's individual or as a team. You just try to minimize them as much as possible. So, the confidence is always there. It's just sustaining it for a long period of time. Is there one guy in particular who's kind of a spark plug for that, who kind of sets the tone? I think everyone does it in their own ways. I think some people are just more, you see it more than others. So I think someone that, gets a lot of recognition because of how he plays is Tanner. He's, our ignition to the fire. So he gets on base and he gets everything going.
What's it like being part of that rivalry game against Oregon State, where lots of energy, lots of fans on both sides, you're playing a team as good as Oregon State? It's
fun. It's always fun playing in those big games when the fans come out, especially. Ultimately we're playing against the game of baseball, but there is a little bit more when you see Oregon State on the other side.
I asked Waz a while ago about the consistency of your guys' lineup and how everybody kind of comes to work knowing exactly what they're going to hit. What does that mean to you, that you're going to hit in the same spot every night?
Yeah, I like that. I like saying pretty consistent. You know, I said this before, I'm not going to be a guy that goes out and hits 20 home runs. I'm not going to be in the 4-hole. I'm a guy that's just going to get on base and set up for those guys to score me.
What's it been like having Drew Cowley back, and just what does he add to your infield and not only just your lineup?
It's nice. I mean, he's obviously going offensively. He's one of our best hitters. He's hitting 450 right now or something like that, which is incredible. And so that adds more dynamic than we already had. And Sam Nowitzki's he's nothing short of him. I mean, he's a great player. He's been one of the best players in Oregon program his 4 years. But, you know, defensively, it's nice to have both of them there.
The double play has been such a huge weapon for you guys. I mean, just what does that do for your defense, for a pitcher, and how key has that been for you guys this year?
It's a big part because it gives the pitchers a lot of confidence knowing that they're one pitch away from, you know, getting out of a big inning if they're in a, you know, crunch spot. So it gives them and our team a lot of confidence.
You always turned it as fast as you do now?
You know, a lot of practice helps with that, but you know, I grew up playing second base and shortstop, so it's kind of second nature, I guess you'd call it.
There's something to be said for chemistry between like you and Josh in those situations also.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of practice and hard work that goes into it. You know, we take ground balls after practice or before games, whatever it is, and it's just something that I know where he wants the ball in certain spots and he knows where I want it. And so it's just nice to have that person right there.
That's Gavin Grant talking with me in the media. I think that it has been a huge weapon for Oregon. Pitcher's best friend, as they call it. Well, we're seeing why. Also, Colby Shade. So Colby, at one point this year, down at UCLA, he caught a ball in left field behind the Oregon left fielder. True story. And I just went, God, how much ground did he cover? He kind of did something similar in terms of covering ground quickly in the Oregon State game on Tuesday. Made a nice sliding catch. He's also been a guy that's hit second in Oregon's order. He's hit 7th and 8th in Oregon's order. And he's been one of Oregon's better hitters. Hasn't been getting as many hits lately, but early in the season, you could not get this guy out. I also asked him who the fastest guy on the team is. His answer might surprise you a little bit. Colby Shade.
What have you seen from Cal this year, and how are you going to apply that into this weekend?
I haven't really watched a ton on them. I know they're a good team. They got good players. Just got to treat it how we would every weekend and just attack the game, play the game like we can, and we'll be fine.
Do you often watch tape, or is that kind of just like comes and goes and maybe you just don't and you start to rake again?
Yeah, we'll like watch guys before the series, see what they have, what pitches they have and stuff. But other than that, it's more just attacking the game and just playing the game, because ultimately we're not playing an opponent, we're playing the game.
What's it like to have Cowley back in the lineup?
It's huge. I mean, guy swear he's on base every time, you know. There's times where we joke in the dugout, we're like, you might as well just put him on base so he doesn't do more damage. It almost feels like they get lucky when he gets out, so huge to have him back in the lineup and healthy.
Right, and then what's it like hitting like the 6 or 7 hole, even with as good numbers as you have on the season?
I mean, it's fine. I enjoy it. I get to come up, I feel like, in a lot of big moments recently, and hasn't worked out recently, but just keep grinding and get back to it.
Does it feel like you get pitched different when you're there as opposed to
not a ton. I feel like it's pretty similar, but yeah.
Do you have a preference between 2 and 6?
Not really. It's not a huge difference. Just get a hit, I guess. That's the best part. As long as I'm in the lineup, yeah, that's all that matters.
You had a nice sliding catch on Tuesday. Just how has it been getting used to the new dimensions of PK? If you're already used to them, just how has it been during the games?
It's good. It's a lot. I think I've gotten used to it, but you know, Anthony Hall and I kind of joke sometimes about just like the corners and like whether to yell wall or not, because it's kind of tricky. But we've avoided some bad collisions so far. Guess that's a good thing. So,
what's the communication like out there in the outfield?
It's pretty good. I'd say we can always do a better job, but I feel like we stay pretty consistent doing a good job.
You cover a lot of ground in the outfield. I mean, how much pride do you take in your speed with your defense?
I think it's my favorite thing to do is just run out there, and especially in BP, just like run after balls and have fun. kind of feel like a little kid just going out there and running like my hair's on fire.
How much, in that regard, how much work do you do on jumps? Like, is that something that's still at this point kind of part of the process every day?
Yeah, it's an everyday thing. I mean, you can always get better at it. I mean, unless you get every single pitch and every single game correct, then I guess you've maxed out. But until you hit that point, I think there's always room to improve on.
Colby Shade. So I asked him after that interview about that particular play at UCLA, and he was like, yeah, I didn't even realize that I was in left field. He just covers that much ground so quickly. God, it must be nice. Colby Shade, just the athleticism, it's sometimes it's mind-boggling. So, you know, I also asked him, are you the fastest guy on the team? And he kind of had to think. He's like, you know, he said in a 60, that's like third drill, right? He's like, he thinks Gannis has the edge. He thinks Tyler Gannis would get him. But in the outfield, he's like, it's me. I like that from Colby Shade. When we come back, Oregon baseball tonight against Cal, 6 o'clock. Also, Melyssa Lombardi talking softball when we return on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s, like go back to college, learn to skateboard. Whoa. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. At aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a free 3-minute chat with the friendly digital retirement coach, Avo, and receive personalized tips to help boost your savings. Start chatting with Avo today at aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon softball and Oregon baseball both beginning 3-game sets tonight at 6 o'clock. And Melyssa Lombardi, head coach for the Ducks, she met with the media previewing the senior weekend against Oregon State.
Are there any specific changes in the plans in offense, defense, or pitching specific to Oregon State?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to always be specifics to each opponent, so for sure. But I think for us, just continuing what we've been doing up to this point.
What is if you could characterize the mindset of the team, having had a difficult stretch for the last couple of weeks? They've had some positive opportunities that they just have needed to capitalize on. What is the mindset going into this series?
I feel like they've had a really good mindset. These guys have prepared this week. They're upbeat, they're excited, they're ready to go. They're excited to be able to play back at the Jane again. I think they've got a really, really good mindset going into the weekend.
Oregon State on a 7-game losing streak, as I'm sure you know. What is something that you tell your team to make sure that they stay in the mindset of, yes, this is still a must-win series?
Yeah. I think every weekend we go into it, it's a must-win series. You know, every weekend we feel the same way. I don't think it changes as far as who we play. So they're excited to get back out on the field and continue to compete in front of our fans and, to get after Oregon State.
Any updates on Sid, Dale?
Yeah, Sid will return, and I don't have an update on Dale.
You look at the Pac-12 as a whole, and even though both you and Oregon State really have had a little more of a downward slope towards the end of Pac-12 season, you guys are still ranked pretty high, as well as a lot of other teams. What does this mean for you guys, and is there any sort of message that you're saying to the team that even though we might be losing, we're losing to opponents that are still ranked in the top 25, and this is going to help us going into the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, exactly that message right there, is to see the big picture. I think sometimes going from game to game and seeing that we're not getting what we want, you can start to get really caught up in that. And I think it's for them to continue to see the big picture, our body of work, what we've done up to this point, and just understanding that it's about us finishing strong in the pack.
Do you find it as a coach that it's hard to keep your team almost motivated when it is that way, that you're playing in such a tough conference that every single weekend is going to be a battle?
We've had a rough stretch, but I'm not having to keep these guys motivated. These guys are fighters. They want to win. They love playing for each other. It's about getting back out on the field and continuing to compete. I think they really understand that what we're dealing with right now and what it's going to do for us later. So I think this group has an idea of obviously what's in front of us, but then also big picture that goes along with it as well.
There have been 4 deaths in the past 30 days in NCAA student athletes. Have you had a conversation with your team about that, or have any players kind of brought that to your attention?
Yeah, no, we all are mourning the loss of each of these individual athletes. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, and so for us as a group to sit down and have conversations about it, it's really, really important. Mental health is serious. It's very, very serious. We take that extremely serious as coaches and as players. I think what's wonderful is that we've got excellent resources here on campus that allows our athletes, if they need to reach out, that they can reach out. And I think that's our biggest message, is that we allow our athletes to know that we are here for you, and that we are here for you, the person, and not the player. And what can we do? If you're struggling, let us know, reach out. And for us to, every day we check in with them. How are you doing? What's going on? What happened with school today? Tell us something good that happened today, but just reaching out to them on another level, not a softball level, but just life. Because life's hard. It's hard. So no, our hearts are, I feel for the softball community. I feel for James Madison and their coaches and their players and everybody that's dealing with it. It's heartbreaking.
Did it feel like for you or maybe your team, some of the athletes, that when it's someone within your sport and it's a team that is going to make a big run in the postseason, does it get a little bit more real?
It just there's things that happen throughout the country, but then I think at times when things hit a little bit more home, it obviously makes you you feel it, I guess, maybe a little bit more. But I think in college athletics, regardless of the sport, these guys are all they're very united. They all know each other, and it's not just like, well, we know softball athletes in all different programs. They know athletes, all over the country that play many different sports, and so and I think our athletes understand the pressures that go along, and just they feel the pressures, and to know that we have relief for them, and we love them, and we care for them, and we if they're struggling, we want to do whatever we can to help them. So I just think the mental health awareness is huge, and I think that's something that is a huge part of our program, and just knowing that our athletes, who they are as people, that's our number one priority, not softball. Softball's just a game. Softball doesn't matter. It's them as people who matter.
With version 1 penciling out, the opportunities may still exist, but on paper, version 1, you're going to have some departures. With version 4, the people that will be going into their last home series, have you experienced emotions with them that this will, have they realized or talked about how that kind of impacts them, their last homestand?
Yeah, for sure. You know, we've been together for a long time, and we've celebrated and together. You know, we've struggled together, just like we've been together for a long time. So to know that this is their last, you know, like senior day is this weekend, and that their career is coming to an end, you know, it's sad for them, but then it's also exciting to see what's the next chapter in their lives too. So it's, you know, it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet, but I'm so proud of them and what they've accomplished, and to watch them grow as people and as women, you know, teammates. I'm thankful that they're here. And again, yes, the softball part is great, but to me, it's the relationships that we have created, and just the love that we all have for one another. So I'm happy to watch them walk on their senior day, but then also sad to watch them walk on their senior day.
This team has, and still has, a lot of potential. Are there any rumblings or concerns, I don't know how to really characterize it, but that they want to make sure that they realize that potential and don't leave anything and have any regrets?
Yeah, no, I think this team is, I think one thing that they really do is understand that every time we're going to play, we're going to put everything we've got out on the field. We're going to put it all out there. And we get our result, awesome. But, you know, in sports are funny, because you could do every single thing, you can leave it all out there and still might not get the result, you know, that ending result that you want. But I think what's more important is, did they trust in the process? Did they believe in themselves? Did they believe in their teammates? Did they just lay it all out there? And if you did, I think sometimes it's all you can do. You know that you gave everything you've got, then that's good enough.
And you've talked before about softball being a game of failures. McKenna kind of touched on it a little bit last week, that you can be really, really good and, you know, still be, you know, only 4 of 10 for something, you know, that would be a 400 average at bat, and that's still failure. I mean, if you look at it rationally. Are there any moments where the team feels like they might have been successful but didn't really reach the success that they'd wanted?
For sure. I think everybody has to do that. You know, the wins and losses, I don't think tell the whole story. I think there's so many more things that tell the story, and the process, and how they handled themselves, and you know, how they worked with each other, the type of leaders that they were, and times when things maybe didn't go our way, how did we handle the situation? Did you quit, or did you keep fighting? You know, those are the things that I think about with this team more than anything. The wins, we all want the wins, no question. But to me, watching them handle adversity and not blink an eye and keep fighting and forging forward, you know, to pick each other up, those are the things that I care about the most with these guys. So I think that's what allows us to get to that end result, but then also in life to handle the things that come along, because they're going to have a lot of cool things that come along their way, and then there's going to be some things that they're going to have to deal with, and that's life. That's a part of it.
As you guys have done film review over the last couple of weeks, I mean, you guys do that as a team, I'm assuming, kind of collectively. What have been the comments or anecdotes from the players themselves about missed opportunities? I mean, because you've mentioned the coaches don't have to coach these players, they do it themselves. So what have those moments kind of been like, if you could shed some insight on that?
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, not just getting so deep into game planning, because I think that's just something that we do, you know, privately, but just understanding that when we have opportunities, you know, like seeing our plan, if we're at the plate, seeing our plan, and when that plan shows up, it's executing it. It's executing it. You know, it's hitting the ball hard versus maybe just missing it. Same thing on the mound. When we have an opportunity to put a player away or a hitter away, it's putting them away versus throwing a pitch that's maybe not competitive, and then now that leads into a deeper count, and then we end up giving something later. I think it's just knowing that in the pack, the opportunities are small, and so when those opportunities show up, you need to be able to execute, and you need to be able to take away those opportunities versus I had an opportunity, I just missed on it. And I think that's what's happened here for us a little bit, is that our plans are great, we know exactly what we want, it's just seizing those opportunities.
And then a specific question, if I may, because we haven't got to see her as much, but you're getting to see her a lot in practice. Allison Benning, if you could just kind of comment on her development, since she hasn't been pitching as much, but I know she's coming along.
Yeah, no, she is coming along. You got to see her a little bit last weekend. I mean, she's got a devastating changeup, and she's still, like, she's a young pitcher, and there's older pitchers in front of her. She can hit. You know, she's been a pinch hitter for us and has done well in the pack. She's swinging the bat really well. I think what's kind of nice with her is that one swing can change the game. So I look at her at bats, you know, against Gabby Plain, you know, who's much older, and I mean, it's a, you know, who played in the Olympics and all that, and to see how she handled herself at the plate against a pitcher like that, I think Allison has a promising career.
Can we ask the coach? Just one last question. You mentioned kind of the bittersweet emotion of senior week, and pair that with rivalry week or rivalry series. How do you kind of get them ready for the game itself after all the ceremonies?
Just all the stuff, yeah. You know, I think it's just we all feel the stuff, you know, the feels that go along with the weekend. But I think our athletes know that when it's time to lock in, you know, and get ready to play, they understand how to do that. Or whether it's time to lock in at practice or weights. Like the feels that are surrounding this weekend, they're definitely real. But then just understanding that when they've got to get to the mindset that they need to get to, this team knows how to do that. They really do. So I trust in them.
6, 6, and 4 on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Jane Sanders Stadium. Pink game, Bark in the Park, Senior Day. It's going to be a good weekend. Ducks and Beavs coming up, and that was Melyssa Lombardi previewing the series. When we come back, let's hear a little bit from Hannah Gailey, one of the seniors. It's going to be, well, enjoying that weekend at Jane Sanders Stadium on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam, ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. We got both Diamond Sports in action at home this weekend. Hannah Gailey, one of the softball student athletes, as the Ducks look to get off of the losing streak a little bit, and I think they will against a Beaver team that, frankly, has struggled a little bit as well. They're on a 7-game losing streak. We're going to find out a lot about this team this weekend, and I think you're going to like the results. Hannah Gailey talking with the media heading into senior weekend.
Since version 1, it's now version 4. I actually got the chance to talk to your family when you were a freshman, and your sister had mentioned how excited you were. You were still searching for a position and kind of trying to find your footing on the team. You found your footing. You are an integral part of the team. Tell me about that journey.
It's been a long one. Lombardi can tell you that too. I think a lot of it was like finding myself off the field and like finding my self-confidence, because coming in to a school like this, coming from such a small town, is like, it's a big wake-up call. And so I think finding my confidence and like knowing that like I'm supposed to be here, I'm good enough to be here, and like trusting that has gotten me to where I am today. And like I'm confident out there rather than being scared like I was freshman year.
So are you saying that being from a small town like Scappoose didn't prepare you for pitching or for facing Gabby Plain or Rachel Garcia?
You don't see many Gabby Plains in Scappoose, Oregon, no. I mean, I played on a travel team that played pitchers like that. Well, you're not like a Gabby Plain, but like competitive pitching like that, and that prepares you. But it's more of, you have like all of my classmates who are from Southern California who see that in high school, who see that in travel ball, who see that on a daily basis. And I only see that maybe 2-3 months out of the year. So knowing that like what I bring to the table is enough was a big part in like my part of the team.
If you could comment for me, knowing that softball is kind of a sport of failures, you heard me mention that Coach had talked about that. Ali Bunker had mentioned the pack in particular. The pack humbles you, it breaks you down, it shows your deficiencies, it can make you question. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience in the pack and those questions and how you've overcome those moments of self-doubt?
And they're definitely right. I mean, in the pack you have hands down some of the best pitchers in the country. Like you won't see Gabby Plains in the SEC, you know. And so I think going into the pack, understanding that it's going to be a mental grind is a big part of it. I think you can't go into it thinking you're going to hit 500. Like you have to tell yourself like, hey, this isn't going to be perfect, but I'm going to do what I can. And I think that's what I've done going into it. It's just like knowing I'm going to get hits, I'm going to be successful, but it's not going to be every at bat, and that's okay. Because even the best batters in the country, the Jocelyn Allos of the country, are still getting out 6 out of 10 times.
I thought that was good stuff from Hannah Gailey. I mean, that's a cool story for her, right? Coming into play at this level, and she's going to, I hope, enjoy senior weekend. I thought that was a cool conversation with Hannah Gailey. Well, we still had some Pro Duck interviews we didn't get to this week. That's what next week is for. We've also got a lot going on this weekend. I do want to tell you a little bit about acrobatics and tumbling last night. A sterling effort fell short on Thursday. The Ducks finishing their season in the quarterfinals with a loss to Quinnipiac. Some of the Ducks have one more, maybe a couple more opportunities on Saturday. Individual event finals Saturday at 11 a.m. Top 4 scores in each heat from Thursday's competitions will qualify, so the Ducks will be competing at Matthew Knight Arena again. Those individuals are Alyssa Hughes, Sarah Buckner, and Blesson McMorris. They'll be recognized on Saturday in those finals events and a few others as well. So best of luck to Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling. The weekend schedule's a full one. Go Ducks all over the place, and we're going to be back here on Duck Insider on Monday. We'll see you at the Jane, see you at PK Park, on the internet. Bye.
Is that a faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're not too cool for me, and in return, I